ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। Verse number 20. अस्ति भाति प्रियं रूपं नाम चेत्यं शपञ्चकम् आद्यत्रयं ब्रह्मरूपं जगद्रूपं ततोद्वयम्. So in this verses, beginning from this 13th verse to 21st verse, so author is basically talking about the cause of samsara and the remedy, the solution for a samsara. And he pointed out that this samsara is due to ignorance caused by the avarana shakti, or more precisely the aviveka caused by the avarana shakti. Same thing. And by aviveka, well, is meant the lack of discrimination between satyam and mithya, between drik and drsya. And this indiscrimination takes place at both the level, at subjective level and at the objective level. At the subjective level, well, drik, the atma, is satyam, and the drishyam, the anatma, etc., is mithya. The difference between drik and drsya is not known. That is the cause of samsara. So drik drsya aviveka is the first indiscrimination that is caused by the avarana shakti. So there is, and then there is a satya mithya mixture at objective level also, which is called as a Brahman world mixture. Like here, basically Atma Ahankara mixture. Drisya is basically Atma Ahankara mixture. I will remind you here, see, in a given person, this individual, well, this author looks upon this individual as a mixture of three seers. I am reminding you because we are doing after a long time. So, well, this is a mixture of three seers. Like, this individual can be looked upon from three sharira, right? And then Atma is shown as a sakshi of all the three shariras. Well, or you look upon this individual from the standpoint of a panchakosha. Same way, this Drsya Viveka, this particular, Tattvabodha looks upon it like differently. But this particular text looks upon this individual as a layer of three personalities or layer of three drashtas. This seer number 1, seer number 2, seer number 3 together is an individual. Seer number 1, seer number 2, they are relative. Sapekshika drashta. And the seer number 3 is a real drashta. Nitya Drashta. Sapekshik Drashta in as much as they are seer also from one standpoint and they are seen also from another standpoint. Sense organs are the seer from the standpoint of the world, and from the standpoint of a mind, they are seen, Drsya. Then, from the stand of the mind of seer number 2 is also Sapekshika Drishta. They are seen from the standpoint of they are seer from the standpoint of his sense organs, and they are seen from the standpoint of Sakshi. And then seer number 3 is a real seer. Because Drik eva natu drishyati. Very first verse. Drik eva. That is ever Drik. Drashta, I mean, seer. Natu drishyati. It is never seen. Why? Because nature is such. Consciousness can never become an object of knowledge. Consciousness is one because of which everything is known. Everything is known, including sense organs, including mind, everything. And therefore consciousness can never be drishyati, can never be seen. It is ever consciousness, ever self. But then if it is not become an object of knowledge, how will I know? Oh, it is self-illumining. What is not self-illumining has to be illumined by the pramana. What is self-illumining, you need not have to do anything. And therefore, basically, this seer number 3 is a sakshi. This mixture of 3 seers, in which the seer number 1, seer number 2, this has been introduced in the first 5 verses. Later on, Acharya said this, the seer number 1 and seer number 2, the sense organs and the mind together is called ahankara. That's called ahankara. Because they are conscious. They are conscious means they are conscious means what? That is where aham is placed actually, in the mind and the senses. And that is why it is ahankara. And seer number 3 is a sakshi. So Drsya Viveka, this individual, ultimately, this individual is made up of 2 things, ahankara and sakshi. In that, sakshi is satyam, ahankara is mithya. That's it. This is called Drsya Viveka. Drsya Viveka is a sakshi ahankara Viveka. Why? Because due to avarana shakti, the ahankara is there is as though a mixture of ahankara and sakshi. Ahankara is taken as real and sakshi is taken as ahankara. Ahankara is superimposed upon sakshi. Sakshi is taken as ahankara. Either way you say it, same thing. And that's due to avarana shakti. And therefore, even though sakshi is satyam and ahankara is mithya, I feel it is just one thing, and that is ahankara only. And so I, the individual, is basically I am ahankara. Jiva, individual, ego. And that is, so here also you should do this Drsya Viveka. Ahankara is basically drishyam. The sense organs are drishyam. The mind is drishyam. Means the ahankara is drishyam. And the sakshi is satyam. But Swamiji, they are also drashta. Therefore you cannot say drishyam. They are not real drashta. Borrowed. This we have to remember. Borrowed consciousness. Borrowed. Where is mind without consciousness? And therefore, consciousness is the one. That is Nitya Drishta. Other 2 are really Drishyam. What is Drishyam is Mithya. Yad Drishyam tan Mithya. Drigeva Satyam. That's it. In seeker's life, morning only I said, in seeker's life, he should drop all the agendas. He should devote himself to Satyamithya Viveka as a part of Nididhyasana. Easiest Nididhyasana is Drsya Viveka. easiest. There is nothing easier Nididhyasanam in Vedanta other than this. Best Nididhyasanam. Drsya. Simple. Keep on doing this. Satya Mithya Viveka. Mithya is taken as a Satyam, and Satyam has no existence, as though Satyam, which is ever existent, is taken as non-existent. This is the confusion. So this is Drsya Viveka, Ahankara Sakshi Viveka is at the subjective level. Outside also I have done the same. Of this due to Avarana Shakti. Well, in Jagat also I have done a mixture. Aviveka is there. And that is called Jagat Brahma Aviveka. There also Satya Mithya Aviveka. Yeah. And therefore, well, that is been introduced in this verse. So in the 20th verse, he pointed out that, well, when we experience the world outside, it is not the pure world we are experiencing, but it is the world mixed with the Brahman. When you say, I am individual, that individual, the Ahankara, stands on Atma. Where is Ahankara? The Atma. Where is mind? Where is conscious mind? Where are senses? Where are conscious senses without consciousness? And therefore, the very existence of the Ahankara called mind and senses, and the body also you should include, well, it's due to consciousness, all-pervading consciousness. And therefore, that's at the subjective level, well, Satyamithya Viveka, in terms of Ahankara Sakshi Viveka, and this at objective level also, well, this Brahman world mixture also is like this. An example, we have seen always example they give is this, the hand and light. That's a very nice example. So hand is never seen by itself, but it is always seen with the mixed with the light. Otherwise, hand can never be seen even in darkness. So the hand and light are experienced together, but the subtle formless light is missed. The experience of light is present, but the knowledge is absent. So teaching is only to draw your attention to the already experienced fact. What is already experienced, you don't know. That's the thing. People say, I have learned all Bhashyam and everything, yet don't have an experience of Brahman. Now we'll be seeing that will go forever. That misunderstanding will go forever. There is not that you don't experience light. In fact, when you experience hand, you experience light. You miss the light. You ignore the light. You disregard the light. Why? Because subtle, formless. Form draws attention. Gross draws attention, not subtle and formless. That's it. Which pervades, in fact, because of that only hand is seen. The very hand is experienced proves the experience of light or presence of light. There is no question of one does not experience the light and only experience the hand. Impossible. Impossible. No, Swamiji, even you switch off right now, I will experience hand. Light is there. Different light. Without light, you can't experience hand. But because it is a gross form, that only draws your attention. And the light which pervades, that's how I say it is subtle and formless. A formless pervades a form. Form does not pervade formless. Formless pervades a form. Every form, in fact, the whole room is light. Whole room is light. One uniform, formless light, in which all in this room, all the names and forms are lighted. But my attention goes only to the forms, names and forms, not to this uniform, subtle, formless light. So, because of which the experience of a form takes place. I don't count. That's how it is. And therefore, anyway, so this is a very good example. So experience of light is present, but the knowledge is absent. So teaching is only to draw our attention to this already experienced fact. So light is continuous and unitary, irrespective of varied objects it illumines. Same way, well, to teach that the Brahman is always present in all our experiences of the world, outside world, author writes now a very important verse by which he says, may I am drawing your attention towards the uniform principle, because of which all the names and forms are experienced. And therefore, as though due to Avarana Shakti, the mixture has taken place, Viveka has taken place between Brahman and the world. That's at the objective level. So discrimination at the subjective level is a Sakshi Ahankara Viveka. Discrimination between the world objects and Brahman is an objective discrimination. Anyway, so in our experiences, basically 5 factors are involved. That's what he is saying here. Asti bhati priyam rupam nama chetyamsha panchakam. First is asti. So I use the word ease, but I never pay attention to easiness. See, it has started like light. I use word asti, but ease, but I never pay attention to that. In every statement, that is made, every word should correspond to an entity, which is an existing entity. So I am taking the word is for granted when it is used in a statement. So Vedanta draws our attention to that, like that person has drawn our attention to already experienced but not known entity called light. Right? Very beautiful example, that light hand or light, any object. Example is a wonderful example. Anyway, so Vedanta draws our attention to that asti, isness. Isness is the factor number 1. And whenever I say, now bhati, so whenever I say that the something is, well, definitely I have experienced that object, known the object. And then otherwise I cannot talk about the isness of an unknown object. So isness always presupposes knownness. I can never talk about the existence of an object without making it as an object of knowledge. And well, so knownness is possible only when consciousness pervades it. Simple. So I am conscious of the object. Consciousness pervades means not somewhere else. I am conscious entity. That is without proving I can tell that. So basically, isness is proven by knownness. Knownness is proven or knownness is possible when there is a pervaded by consciousness. And that consciousness pervaded means what? I am conscious of the object. That's what you will say. Consciousness is pervaded means I am conscious of the object. I know the object and therefore the object is. And therefore, ultimately, knownness is possible when only when I am conscious of the object. And so author says this bhati is the second factor, the known. Bhati means a known. Asti means is. So bhati is the second factor, which is there pervading uniformly in all objects of the world. He is segregating world Brahman. So asti bhati. All the objects in the world has isness. All the objects in the world has a knownness. No, Swamiji, but you don't know. Well, if you say you don't know, then you won't say it is. And therefore, isness, if you say, then the knownness is there. So they go together. And knownness means pervaded by consciousness. Means I am conscious of the object and therefore the object is. So anyway, so asti bhati is a common factor in all the objects in the world. Asti and bhati. And which is not a tangible entity. That same like light. So very object is experienced because of asti bhati. Pervaded by consciousness. Means I am conscious of the object and therefore object is experienced and object is. So exactly like light. Subtle principle. uniform principle and formless principle. What is the form of Astibhati? Formless. And that is how Astibhati pervades all the forms. Big, small. It pervades a galaxy and it pervades a virus. And in between. That shows that if it pervades everything, all the forms, Astibhati is formless and pervades equally, then Astibhati is uniform. Astibhati is formless, uniform, subtle. That we are segregating now from name and form. That will come. So Bhati is the second factor. Something is known means, well, definitely consciousness is associated with that object, whose existence I talk about. So Asti means, well, Sat association, we can say. Bhati means Chit association. And Sat Chit basically are in every object. Chit, we will say it as is present in the object as a known. Sat is present in the object as is, either way. And every object is associated with Ananda also. And therefore, this association with Ananda is expressed. We said that, like I like the clip, I like this object, etc., etc. So every object is liked by someone or the other. And every object is liked by its absence. By when it goes away, we like that object. And some objects we like when it comes. That's it. Certain objects we like when they come. Certain objects we like when they go. The guest, uninvited guest, and they say, no, we are here only for 2 hours. Tomorrow, in afternoon we have to go to Boston, and therefore we will be leaving. We like this person very much. Yeah, we like that person very much, because as such we did not want this guest. And he himself says that I'm leaving in afternoon for Boston. Very nice. So objects become either by arrival a source of joy or by departure. But they do become. They do become. For every living being. Every living being. In other than the human beings, it is not so expressed. In a human being, it is very well expressed. Likes and dislikes. So, likes and dislikes is toward an object. And therefore, what you dislike, when they leave, they become a source of joy. What you like, when they arrive, they do become a source of joy. And therefore, likes and dislikes are expressed in human beings. And therefore, and they are generally there for all. But Swamiji, we don't have that kind of thing. We likes and dislikes for objects which I can count and tell to you. If you want, I can send you the list also. But then, apart from that, there are millions of objects. But so that is for you. But there is another human being who has his own list. And there is another human being who has his own list. And apart from the humanity, there are others for whom there are objects. And objects of like, etc. Okay? And therefore, ultimately, whatever objects are there, they are the objects of happiness for one or other being. That's it. And therefore, the Ananda also is uniformly pervaded. Satchit Ananda is pervaded. Okay, so Priyam means Ananda association. This is the third factor. And now 2 more factors. What is there? Name and form. So in this context, well, Rupa can be taken as either you take a Rupam as an attribute or Rupam as an object. Better take as an attribute. Better. Never take it as an object. When you think of it, Rupam as an object, you feel a very concrete thing. Concrete. You don't realize the very existence in an object is Brahman, that you don't realize. One who realizes that the very existence in an object is Brahman, for him the object is merely appearance. To understand Mithyatvam, people do this mistake. They not to understand. People do this mistake. Name and form they consider as an object, and object is there. Existence is there. But even if you separate Satchidananda, still they keep object as it is. It's a big issue. I don't know how to resolve in them. When you see that in that given object, form, the very existence is Brahman, automatically the whole, whatever form is there, it's merely appearance. When you say that in a pot, the whole thing is just clay. Clay lends existence to the pot. And when you start appreciating clay as the very cause for the existence of the pot, I'm sure one understands clay, a pot, as merely appearance. For such a person to understand Mithyatvam is so easy. And believe my words, in a world, if you want to understand Mithyatvam, there is no way out but to segregate the very existence as a Brahman. There is no way out. No way out. This is experience now and later it won't be experience. It has come now and later it will go away. Agama paitvam. Nothing works. Nothing works. Except this thing, the very existence of that form, object, is Brahman. That's a uniform. That is formless, pervading everything. Pervading that form and this form, that form and this form. A human form or a lion form, or a tree form or some insentient form. The very existence, which is uniform, all pervading, that is Brahman. Then for such a person to understand form and in general the world as a mithya is easiest way. And therefore in in second chapter, this is how it was done. This is not going to work. That it is born and it will go away, and once upon a time it was not there, and in future it will not be there. I will ask question. Right now it is there. Concrete. It is there. I don't know about past. I don't know about future. Right now it is there. Looming large in my head. And therefore this Asti Bhati is such a wonderful thing. That's how Pujya Swamiji's meditations are on Asti Bhati. Several meditations. Asti Bhati, he immediately says Asmi Bhami. He converts. Because there is no Bhati. There is no consciousness somewhere by which the object is known. Object is known to you. Object is known to you. You are a conscious being. And therefore you, the consciousness, pervades the object. And that is how the object is. And therefore the very existence of the object and the bhati, the knownness of the object, is because of you. Means the entire object is non-separate from you. Where is independent object other than you as a conscious being? Where? Oh, Swamiji, you are conscious being, you will go away. The object will remain. It is still pervaded by consciousness, your consciousness. Without consciousness, try to prove the existence or a knownness of the world. No, not possible. This is the only way to understand the mithyatvam of the world. Only way. And therefore, yes, such Asti Bhati, everything you know, but I am particular about certain concepts, because to understand mithyatvam of the world, what is the easiest way? Several ways we say. It's not that this is the only way we say. There are several ways we say. It's a drshyam and therefore mithya, and this is but this is the easiest way. And therefore rupam, nama rupam, the rupam should be translated, not as an object. let us translate it as a just attribute. Pot is an attribute to the clay. And this is not what I am saying. This is what Pujya Swamiji says. Just read it. When he discusses Satyamitya, he will say the form is an attribute of this Satyam. Anyway, means by saying it is an attribute, he wants to say it is non-separate. It is non-separate. No attribute can be away from the substance. No attribute can exist independent. A green color, when you say green cloth, that green color which is an attribute of or adjective, generally sometimes they say adjective. But anyway, so green color which is an attribute to the cloth is not independent. Anyway, so these two more factors, name and form, well, also are there, and rupam can be taken as an object or attribute, but as an attribute is better. And these two are variable factors. All these five factors are simultaneously experienced. The Astibhati Priyam, which is invariable in all, and name form, well, definitely it is variable. They are all the five are experienced when I experience the world. And when you experience the world under the Avarana Shakti, well, definitely you will take them as one thing only. Object has its independent existence, etc., etc. And for them, and for that is the cause for taking the world as a real. But if you segregate like this, that there is one thing which is invariably present, uniformly present, without which this name and form cannot be experienced, name and form will not have an existence, and that is Astibhati Priyam. Well, name and but then how can you say there are two? Because there is one which is invariable, there is another which is variable, and therefore definitely what is variable cannot be invariable, what is invariable cannot be variable, and therefore there is a mixture. Mixture of variable plus invariable. Variable which is not independent of invariable, Astibhati Priyam, is Mithya. What is invariable, uniformly present, which cannot be negated, is Satyam, that is Astibhati Priyam. Astibhati Priyam can never be negated. Can never be negated. You require another Astibhati Priyam to negate this Astibhati Priyam. Okay? And therefore, this Sachidananda, etc., and the name and form. So this is an objective discrimination which is between Brahman and the world. So that has been narrated here. So whatever is unchanging and uniform, well, we generally don't pay attention to normally. As I told you, just the example I have given you of the light. So Vidyaranya describes, well, also this fact in the 10th chapter. We have seen it also, Natyadeepa Prakranam, where he said, well, he asked to consider a situation when, there is a theater, and in the stage there are, there was drama and etc. And there is a huge lamp, if you remember, that huge lamp, one big lamp, which illumines the stage, which illumines the people on the stage, which illumines the entire audience, illumines the whole hall. Such a big lamp. And now the stage, is empty, etc. Play is over, all the actors, etc. have retired to the green room, etc. And then scene, set, etc. also has been removed. Now if someone in the audience, suppose, is asked, what or who is there on the stage, the person would invariably say, there is nobody on the stage. That proves that one thing he has disregarded, because of which the whole show was possible. And so this statement shows that, the light because of which we could see the actors earlier also know that because of light only we know now that no one is there on the stage also. That very light factor which is present is missed, because you said no one or nothing is there on the stage. So even though the light plays a very important role, it is not noticed because, I told you the reason, uniform, changeless, subtle. formless. Form draws attention. Gross draws attention. Subtle does not draw attention. Changing thing draws attention immediately. Anything changing, immediately our attention goes. Which is changeless, which is uniform, which is subtle, pervading, will never draw attention. Same thing has happened with Brahman. Asti Bhati Priyam is all pervading, uniform, pervading all the forms, and formless naturally pervades all the forms. It itself is a formless. What pervades space cannot have a form. Simple reason. What pervades space cannot have a form. What has a form will be in the space. What has a form is pervaded by space. What pervades space cannot have a form. Even to discover the form of a space is impossible. Anyway, so how can you say your Asti Bhati pervades space? So simple. Space is known. Ho gaya? Knownness and isness, yes. The very space is known because pervaded by consciousness. You say I am conscious of the space. Space does not tell you that I am conscious of you. You tell to the space. Okay? And therefore it's an object of consciousness. Object of consciousness is pervaded by consciousness. Object of consciousness is pervaded by consciousness. And therefore space is pervaded by consciousness. Consciousness is formless, uniform. And then whatever is there in the space, entire world is pervaded by consciousness, due to which, well, isness is there. When there is a knownness, then there is isness. And therefore, the very existence is borrowed of a form. Name and form is from the consciousness. And you are that consciousness. Okay? You are limitless consciousness. All pervading consciousness. Anyway, so same, just as the light, well, basically plays an important role, it is not noticed. Well, because it is uniform, changeless. Similarly, space also, that is everywhere, is same thing. Space example also is true. Space also pervades everything, uniform, changeless, formless, and so we don't have a value. It is not noticed. And so, therefore the statement like a empty space, etc. is a contradiction, because space is present. So you cannot say empty space. It means space is not there. Empty space. The space is always there. Whatever is uniform, changeless is taken for granted. Well, only moving thing gets an human attention, changing thing gets an attention. So Asti Bhati Priyam Brahma Rupam. Anyway, which are uniform in everywhere. Nama Rupa abounds in variety and they are always changing, variable. So we do not know, do not notice, because due to Avarana Shakti, while present, I do not notice this Brahma Rupam, which is the Satyam, but fall in basically love with the variety. What is variable? Name and form. Variety. Well, that only draws our attention. Untruth draws attention. Untruth is attractive. Truth is never attractive. What is not changing? No color, no sound, nothing, no attributes. Our minds are always oriented for attributes. I don't know, even in relationship, people always are attracted by attributes of a person. In a relationship, not as a basic person, no. Always attracted by attributes. Attracted by Maya. Name and form. Attributes. I have already told you. It is Maya. Asti Bhati Priyam is Brahman. So you better attracted towards attribute, no problem. But take along with Brahman. Because as such also it is not separate. Take along with Brahman. Pure Maya will take you for a ride. Whole life. Life after life. Total orientation. The person is called extrovert, in whose attention is all the time attributes, forms, nothing else. So initially, likes and dislikes, etc., to our attribute. Vairagya means you basically stop your mind getting colored by attributes, forms. What is uniform and which is non-changing, never our attention goes. So the Vairagya, once you are there, that is there, then you become qualified to know this uniform, formless thing. At least an attraction towards form should go. There should be a break. Person who is extrovert has no break towards objects or attributes. Anyway, Asti Bhati Priyam, Rupam and Nama. 5 components. We have done now Viveka between that. And well, so this Satchidananda, Asti Bhati Priyam, well, belong to Brahman, which is uniform. Then the question will come, well, that if how the Ananda can be uniform, because you said it is Asti Bhati Priyam is uniform and not variable, invariable. But we find Ananda, well, is variable. Priyatam is variable, definitely. More, I love more, I love less. We say also all this. And therefore Ananda also, and as such our experience also, Ananda is not uniform. It's all the time changing. So Ananda that manifests in the mind, well, is never uniform. Ananda is uniform. Ananda which is manifest is never uniform. Why? Then it is simple. What is uniform appears as a variable. What is the cause? The medium where it manifests. That is the responsible thing. The responsible thing in a uniform Ananda to make it appear as a changing variable is the medium. Medium. And that is mind. Mind changes. So what manifests there also appears changing. Like in a room there is a light, right? Uniform, non-changing, subtle light. Suppose if I do like this. Now, when I do like this, the light which has manifested here also appears moving. In fact, what is uniform, all-pervading, cannot move. What is uniform, all-pervading, cannot move. But where it manifests, that part is moving, so it appears that the light also is moving. And same way here. Mind keeps changing. From sattva, then you will feel more joy. Rajas, etc., well, you will feel less. Even tamoguna, well, it then least. And therefore, same Ananda which is uniformly present, like Asti Bhati, well, varies according to the conditions of the mind, sattva, rajas, tamas. And so basically this other two, this name and form, etc., belong to this unstable, changing mithya world and are unreliable. So Asti Bhati Priyam Satchidananda is uniform. There is no question regarding it. Now, verse number 21. Khaivaivagniर्जलोर्वीषु देवतीर्यं नरादिषु अभिन्नाः सच्चिदानन्दाः विद्येते रूपनामनि. Now, as such we have said also that between 13 to 21 there is a description of a samsara. So this is the last verse. The next verse onwards there is a big discussion of how to remove samsara. Well, Swamiji, to remove samsara, very simple. One should attend classes. No, we are taking an interview of a person who is studying since 30 years. And and he is telling that, well, samsara has not gone, Swamiji. Not even an iota has gone. Therefore, this is a different type of question. For those people only, he is going to show some reason, some remedy in order to get rid of samsara. So from verse 22 onwards, it will be there up to 31 or something. Well, sixfold samadhi, sixfold nididhyasanam, he is going to discuss about. But this is the last verse in our second topic. What is the cause of samsara? In that, this is the last verse. Here, and it is, it's a little discussion of a srishti. I told you in the very beginning itself, this book is basically a tvam padartha pradhana, like Kenopanishad. In Kenopanishad, you won't find much discussion on Ishvara and the creation and then all this. It starts with the tvam padartha, vishleshana, analysis of tvam padartha. Kene shidam patadi preshitam manah, kena prana prathama praiti yuktaha, etc., etc. Even though somebody said, if it is tvam-pada pradhana and if it does not discuss tat-pada, then definitely it is not a complete vision of the Vedanta. No, it's a complete vision. At the end of this book, well, it will be proven. What? That this individual, the jiva, basically, tvam-pada vachya, is Brahman. Right now he has proved, in fact, but I am saying, and that is the subject matter. Jiva is Brahman is subject matter. What else you want? No, Ishvara is Brahman. It kya baat hai? That does not remove your samsara. Samsara is removed when you know that you are not a samsari. Yeah, samsara is not really removed. Samsara is not removed. Samsara, you are free from samsara, that is the knowledge. People think the samsara should go. Samsara should go. There is no need at all to remove samsara. I am free from samsara. That's it. Samsara, the limitations, etc. will be there. That's what we have learnt in Panchadashi also. Jvara will be always there. That is samsara. Anujvara is not there. I am free from samsara. What is Nishtha, Swamiji? You don't take yourself as samsari. In spite of the entire world tells you, you have this limitation. You are like this. And you simply smile. You simply smile. Not out of insensitivity, but because of the appreciation of what you are. That's it. If you are able to appreciate what you are, not what you will be. If I appreciate, only when I will be in a certain form. Samsara. This is samsara. In future I will be free. That's a big samsara. My God. Big samsara. Even coming on this path, other people are outside. When I will get money, I will get this position, I will get this job, I will be better. This person says, when I will, gain this Brahman, etc., or experiencing Brahman, when I will experience the Brahman, is a height of the ignorance. It's a height of ignorance when I will experience Brahman. That statement is a... Anyway, so then I will be free from samsara. Is another trip. Another trip of samsara. Spiritual trip. I am at this moment free from samsara. That's it. I don't claim any attribute. Claiming attribute is samsara. Gaining more attributes, samsara. Attributes as a goal, samsara. That's how Swamiji says very beautifully. All this, all embellishments. He used to use this word, embellishments. When you take yourself as an individual, ahankara, only you need all these embellishments. Any embellishment, I try for, I work for, proves I take myself as a limited being, individual, ahankara. And here it says, better you understand, you are Atma, Brahman. Ahankara is Mithya. So this is, every day we should try like this. I have not to do anything, not to improve anything internally or externally. Nothing is needed to improve upon myself. Only I needed is to appreciate I am everything. I am everything. Or I am free from everything. Either way. Free from all names and forms, or all the names and forms are me alone. I am Satyam, everything is Mithya. Not Brahman Satyam Jagan Mithya. No. I am everything. Or I am Brahman, everything is Mithya. I am Satyam, everything is Mithya. Either. So this is, as you remain more and more in present, and your mind doesn't project, that's called Vikshepa. If your mind doesn't project anything about yourself, or you don't project yourself in the future, you are more nearer towards moksha. More projection, definitely you are away from moksha. Then later improving, etc., that is a object improvement. Okay, improving the mind. Work for this Satyamithya Viveka, Sakshi Ahankara Viveka, and like outside, well, Brahma world Viveka, Satyamithya Viveka, that is also there. Subjective discrimination, objective discrimination. Anyway, we'll see further in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.